All right, good morning, afternoon. Wow, it's been a long day. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for our final session time of the day and our farmer panel on direct marketing. We have three incredible direct marketing farms with lots to share, lots of different experiences from two different states and an international guest as well. So we're going to go in order. Each person's going to be doing their own introduction about their farm and their system. We're going to start with Jeremiah Vernon, go on Vernon Family Farm. We're then going to go on to Ben Nottermann of Snug Valley Farm. Vernon Family Farm is in New Hampshire. Snug Valley Farm is in Vermont. And we have Kim Maloney from Farm Briley up in Thurso, Quebec, Canada. So I'm going to let Jeremiah take it away.
All right, hello, I'm Jeremiah, and in the picture here, you can see my wife, Nicole. She should be sitting here, I think, more than I am. She does all the marketing for the farm, but she only started working the farm full-time 2 years ago, where I've been working on the farm full-time for 11 years now. So now we're both full-time on the farm, and she manages the store. So before her, I was managing the production side and the marketing side. So a little bit about our farm. We started in 2014. I had farmed for about 10 years prior on a variety of farms around New England. And then we bought our farm in Newfields, New Hampshire in 2014. It was just basically a hay fields and some buildings. And that was it. It was not actively farmed. Because we're talking about direct retail, when we bought our farm, this was very intentional. We were searching for a farm near a busy area on a 35-mile-an-hour state road. So we wanted a lot of parameters because I had grown up working on farms that had retail businesses, and that's what I felt comfortable doing. So it took us a long time, but we eventually found a farm in Newfields, New Hampshire, which is about 10 minutes from Exeter, New Hampshire, which for New Hampshire people, it's on the seacoast. It's a wealthy, busy area. And it's a 35-mile-an-hour state road, and it gets, I haven't done the car count in a while, but it gets, a few hundred cars go by every week. So it gets a lot of traffic going by there. We are a pasture-based farm, but we became that. Basically, I fell in love with farming. I didn't really care what I was going to do. So I started managing some other people's farms. I started working at farmers markets, and at the time, no one was doing USDA inspected poultry at any of the farmers markets around us. So I went deep on USDA inspected poultry, and this might be obvious, but New Hampshire is a very small area, so you're crossing state lines a lot. You can't cross state lines without your product being USDA inspected, and no one was doing that. So there was no product coming in and out of the state that was USDA inspected. And Portsmouth and Manchester, the two biggest farmers markets in the state, also require USDA inspection. So et cetera, we found a market opportunity, and we went down on that. And we started with 1,200 chickens our first year, and now we do over 10,000 broilers, and we've expanded to do a whole bunch of other pastured livestock. So I describe our livestock by how many we process a year. So we process about 80 sheep, 80 pigs, 10,000 chickens, 300 turkeys, and 50 cows a year. And all of that is sold retail through our farm store. We did wholesale before COVID. COVID wiped out our wholesale program, and we went straight retail with everything. We are now doing a little bit of wholesale, and I'll get into that if people have questions, but we're doing it very differently than we did before. So all that retail is sold through our farm store. We have about 40 other local farmers represented in the store, so it's a one-stop shop. You can get everything from olive oil to fresh baked goods to dairy products. And we're open daily. We used to be open every day. We're now open Wednesday through Sunday, 9 to 6 year round. And we've been open like that or more than that since we started the farm in 2014. And I have a whole bunch of principles that have guided those decisions that I'll share in a little bit. But that's just a basic intro. So, one other thing is we are a family farm. I have 3 young kids. So like this farm has to make enough money for my whole family. My wife works there, I work there. We have to take care of our kids, et cetera. So we've come a long way to get to the point where our entire income comes from the farm. So.
All right, I'm Ben, Snug Valley Farm, Hardwick, Vermont. We're grass-fed beef, grass-fed, grass-finished beef operation. We harvest and finish somewhere 400 or so head of cattle, 400 to 500 pigs a year. We're a non-GMO program. we've shifted away from pasture-based, like 100% pasture-based just for management. So now everything is in a deep bedded pack barn, and I will tell you, our website needs to be updated on that. So then we also have an accidental flock of sheep, which anyway, sure, I shouldn't have sheep. So our main sales channels are direct to consumer, wholesale, direct to wholesale, like wholesaling cuts to stores, and then wholesale of carcasses to other meat labels that don't have enough capacity to supply their needs. Like maybe they're short land base, or maybe they're short labor, whatever it is. And so that's a niche we fill. On the farm is myself. I've got 2 part-time employees, somebody who does order fulfillment, delivery, once a week delivery driver, and then a part-time retired older gentleman who drives my cattle truck, and then a bookkeeper. So 4 part-timers. It's a lot to manage. In 2019, I went through RFP, the Ranching for Profit School. We were shifting our focus to wholesale, like purely wholesale, because we were sick and tired of doing the farmers market game and chasing that every weekend. We were doing 5 markets a weekend, and it wasn't sustainable. COVID hit, and then we re-pivoted our pivot to home deliveries. We put together an online store with Grace Cart and launched it in 2 weeks. Week number 3, we had our first round of home deliveries, and we've been off to the races since. So it's been a wild ride. So if there's questions further down the way, happy to share.
Hello, I am Kim from Briley Farms. We're located in Thurso, Quebec, Canada. I'm the 5th generation at the farm, and Brian and Lise, they're both here as well, 4th generation. So we're primarily grass-fed beef and grass-fed lamb producers. We sell mostly everything direct to the consumer from our farm store. 10%, around 10% of our sales are wholesale. We have a commercial customer that comes and picks up once a month, but 90% of our sales are from our farm store. We really try to get as many consumers to our farm store on the weekends. We're only open on Fridays and Saturdays, so we really try to maximize those 2 days of the week. And marketing does take a lot of time, and we find the most time that we can invest in is getting people to come to our farm store, so we don't have to invest in deliveries, and it just adds another job at the moment. Who knows, we might do it eventually, I don't know. So for our beef, we sell probably around like 2/3 of our beef sales are sold by quarters, halves, and full beef in the fall time when the beef are seasonally ready. The lamb, we sell halves and full lamb in the summertime. We keep our lamb until they're 14 months old, so they are a little bit, quite a bit heavier than the conventional, but still a really niche product and really sought after product. We do also sell pork. We don't raise pork. We tried to in the past, but nobody likes working with pigs on our farm. We prefer more ruminant animals. So we have a farm that raises pigs for us, and we have a good relationship with that, and we mostly sell halves and full pigs. And we also do some by the cut at our farm store. And we do also sell another farm's chickens and eggs. We're located at the corner of 2 pretty busy highways, so that's why we focus a lot of time and energy into getting people to come to our farm store. And right now, we're diversifying our farm. We opened a sandwich shop on our farm this will be the third season, I believe. And we're also looking at cabin rentals and kind of diversifying revenue streams. We use social media for marketing, mainly Facebook and Instagram. We have our online store that people can reserve their quarters, halves, and full beef. We also do make prepared boxes that people can come order and pick up right at the farm. We started that in COVID, so it was really easy that people can just buy a box of beef and put it in the trunk and ready to go. And yeah.
just want to say one thing that we've learned on our farm is that we've added like these boxes and halves and wholes, and what we have found is actually increases the amount of retail we have. What I mean by that is we're not poaching our walk-in store customers. We're actually bringing in brand new customers into a retail price. So like we were nervous. We have a CSA, we have a meat box, we have all this other stuff that if we started offering wholes and halves at a lower price, are we just going to cut all of those existing markets? And that's not the case. It's a different customer altogether. So what we have found is that every single time we come up with a new retail option, we're just picking up more retail customers. We're not poaching from our existing customers, which I think is important.
Just to follow up, we also blanked over a few details. Of course. So we have an on-farm store. I don't know how I missed that. Anyway, we don't have 40 products or 40 partner farms, but we did at the onset of COVID. All of our friends, our small dairy farm friends who bottle milk and make cheese, maple producers, all of our wholesale accounts just like evaporated, right? So we carry partner farm items on our website for home delivery, maple cheese. There was a bakery. We had pastured poultry from another farm. We've since went down to just maple and the dairy, just because other people's accounts have come back online and they don't have the capacity. So we were essentially a rolling grocery store, but we made the conscious decision not to do any veggie because there's so many CSAs and so many veggie farms that we don't need to poach those customers. We're already partnering with all those farms as a meat add-on for their CSA. So it's not like we didn't see that need when we were already doing it. Like that was a wholesale that stayed through COVID. So our on-farm store is very small. It's a very, very tiny portion of our revenue, but it kind of captures that drive-by customer. We're not on a busy road. We're on a mile off of pavement on a dirt road, but we do raise pumpkins for sale in the fall, grow pumpkins. Anyway, so it was kind of built to capture those customers going by that maybe didn't have an opportunity to buy meat from us before because we had no easy access storefront, for our customer facing storefront. And it seems to be working. We're a year and a half into the store, and self-service kiosk, credit card, and it seems to be working rather well. Not that we're setting the world on fire, but it's consistent.
So you don't have to staff it, and you don't worry about people just.
Well, I always worry. You always worry about it, but if they're going to help themselves, hopefully they need it more than we do.
That's what I've always said.
But we have a pretty obvious, robust security surveillance system. We have time programmable locks, so I can see when the door opens. It only is open from 8 to 6. You can only go through the door 8 to 6, 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. And as soon as somebody walks in, I get a notification on my phone. So it's like I'm kind of there, but I'm not there.
You guys have cash payments at that? Just the card?
We try to do just the card. Some customers still don't trust their credit card for whatever reason and leave cash, which is even less trusting.
We have like a cash box. We do Venmo too, but we don't have a point of sale. It's mostly cash, and it's like definitely seems.
What's that? Just so we can capture.
Thank you. Yeah. I was saying like we're mostly cash and looking into the future as we grow. That seems like well, that to like point of sale would be a thing. But do you even once you have the point of sale, do you carry on with the cash? Or do you just
we never intended to do cash in there, but people have just done cash and leave it on the counter.
Well, some people also decide that there's like a credit option too, like an IOU.
Well, a lot of the cash customers know that like it comes up on my phone and it'll turn to the camera. I'm leaving blah blah blah. However much it's right here. Come get it. I gotta go check that. The regulars make up their own rules.
Yes.
This was just my opinion, but a cautionary tale for the self-serve. I think all of us are trying to grow and sell a premium product. And when you sell it self-serve, you're leaving a lot of room for the customer to make their own decisions. And for example, we sell chicken sausage that's pre-cooked, and we used to be raw. And so my point is they would take it home and they would overcook it, and it would come back super dry, and then they'd never come back and buy another chicken sausage from us again. So we went with a walkie-talkie that someone could call us and ask us questions, even if we're out in the field. which was like an in-between of the self-serve when we first started. And then when we started to get a little busier, we would just leave the walkie-talkie, and then one of us would be in charge of walking up to the store. And now it's fully manned all the time. But I would just like, that would be my one word of caution, is that when you're in the store, when that customer has decided to come so far as to come to your store, it'd be good of you to make a little eye-to-eye contact with that person, have a conversation, because like that's how you're going to build that customer base for the future. And like to give you guys an idea of our farm, when we started, we had one like household freezer behind the door, and maybe like 3 customers a week. We average 50 customers a day in the store now, and I definitely think that's because we put in that eye-to-eye contact with that customer for the last like 13 years. So just a cautionary tale for the self-serve.
Yeah, just to add on to having contact with your customers, that's something that we really, really try to do. My mom works at a farm store and she knows a lot of our customers, and we really try to have a relationship with them. And this year especially, we were it was a big year for our farm. Marketing wise, this spring we kind of faced a few challenges finding, because for our beef, we usually buy yearling heifers and then we graze them until they're ready in the fall. In the spring, with the high prices and everything, in our area, there's less and less cattle available that we were looking for, and less grass cattle. So we couldn't find the amount that we needed to fulfill our customer orders. So we had a contact in a Hutterite community in Alberta out west that we kind of had for the last couple of years, but I never really did anything with it, just because a lot of our marketing was based around like local, we raise it on our farm. So it really caused a lot of stress and thinking of how we were going to market it. Were we going to lose all of our customers because we're going to be getting meat from out west potentially? So we had to take the leap and get meat from out west to fulfill our customer orders. And I think it's really important to be transparent with that. We told our customers the situation and what we were going through. And because we had such a great relationship with a lot of our customers, I don't think we lost any of our customers with the decision we had to make, because they understood kind of our situation, and I tried to portray that, and we still talk about it with our customers, and it's kind of an ongoing thing. Businesses change and evolve, and I think we have to be real with our customers and transparent. And that's why it's good to have a good relationship and good eye-to-eye contact with customers.
This question's for Ben. Do you have an estimate of your breakdown for wholesale versus direct sales?
Yeah, during COVID, we were probably 80-20, 80% being direct to consumer, 20% wholesale, because all of our wholesale, like kitchens, cafeterias, schools, everything just shut, Now we're back to kind of a more, in my mind, a more sustainable balance, where we're probably 65% wholesale, 35% direct to consumer. During the height of COVID, we were making 40 to 50 home deliveries a week on 2 different routes. Now we do it in one day on one route. And it averages 10 to 15 home deliveries, but then we couple it with our wholesale deliveries, all the CSAs, farm stands, farm stores, grocery stores, restaurants, butcher shops. Like, we service the spectrum. So we can still afford to have that truck on the road, have the driver in the truck, making those stops. It's just the balance has kind of organically built a customer profile for each person, and then their email, it just started showing up in their email inbox. Secret sauce on it, I've got nothing other than hours and hours of farmers markets taking down emails.
Yeah, email marketing is definitely important. For when we started adding to our email list, we would give out free garlic skate butter for an email that everyone that came to our farm store, just to entice them and to build our email list because we were starting from zero. I try to put like a little story in, some pictures. We send one out monthly. We use Flowdesk as a platform, and it's really user friendly, and you can put your brand colors and everything. It's definitely worth doing for sure. Yeah, I don't have a secret, but.
I have a couple thoughts. So one is, I think it matters, this is a little bit boring, but what you use for your website host. So for example, we use Squarespace, and Squarespace just launched a newsletter platform. And the reason that's important is because our online store uses Squarespace, we now can hyperlink everything in our newsletter directly to a product on our online store. That was through MailChimp, that was a much clunkier process. So I think, streamlining that is boring, but it makes a huge difference. I also would call it the 1,000 rule. So if you have 1,000 followers on Instagram, 1,000 people on your newsletter, when you do a call to action, what we have found is like that 1,000 is when people start to show up. So like if you do a call to action, like it's CSA weekend, which for you means nothing. You're just telling people they should buy a CSA this weekend. If you have 1,000 people on your newsletter, someone's going to show up and buy a CSA. And so like that's what we found. Like once we got to that 1,000 mark, it was like, oh, people show up when we tell them to now. And that still carries forward now with our newsletter. If we want to increase ticket sales before an agritourism event, but send out a newsletter the night before, I guarantee you will sell 50 tickets the next day. So it definitely matters. And we do it every week. And we do it when there's an event as well.
Just to tag on real quick, we don't do anything as sophisticated, I think, as either of you for our emails. I use Gmail, pre-build the email, and then pop it into Grazing and send it from in there. That's our back-end platform. So it comes right, it doesn't get flagged for spam. Like a lot of times MailChimps you'll get dinged off or Squarespace, but it doesn't because it comes right from our email. So I don't know if that's a trick, but that's something I realized.
So I have a follow-up to the sort of email marketing. So we have a thing on our website that pops up when you open it that says like sign up for our email list, and there's not that many people on there because I haven't been like trying very hard to get emails for it. But I guess my question is like, once you have people signing up, like if I did have some critical mass of people, more than 10 or however many are on there now, like how often do you think you like have to be sending something? Like, can I just sit on it for a while, or does it like once you have an email list, you really need to be like consistently sending something out like on some sort of regular basis? Otherwise, people just like, I don't know, forget or just like fall off the wagon or whatever you want to call it.
We also have a pop-up on our website that it says subscribe to the on our newsletter, and they automatically get an email when they get that, and it's just kind of like a brief, like a very generic one. We send out monthly ones. Because we do monthly discovery days as well. I forgot to say that. We do monthly farm tours at the farm. So I like to send one out at the beginning of the month, kind of with like a detail, like weekends, what's going on the farm. It takes a lot of time for me to write an email and to actually sit down and really like think about it. It's not like my favorite job to do, so I think monthly for us works good. But yeah, I don't know about you.
This might be too soft of an answer, but I think if you have something to say, you should email them. And what I mean by that is like we run specials, for example, all the time. So we just send a newsletter like, hey, chicken wings are on sale to the Super Bowl, 20% off. So the other thing, we don't give anybody a bonus for signing up for the newsletter, but we do specials that you can only access by being part of our newsletter. And that gets a lot of people to join. And then the other thing is, I don't do this, but my wife is very good at checking the like analytics in the background, like how many people are opening your email, how many people are clicking into the hyperlink in your email. And she's been doing that for years. And so she's learned how to increase that, like whatever the open rate and click rate and everything. And there are tricks to do that with even like the subject of your email, you know, anyway, that's not my department, but we have found that it makes a difference for sure.
So I typically send out an email on Sundays or Saturdays. Our order deadline closes 5 p.m. on Monday or 6 p.m. Monday. Just as a reminder, like, hey, this is happening. If you want a delivery Thursday, order needs to be in Monday at 5. Here's what else is going on this week. Here are any specials we're running. Problem with the way I do it, I can't see any of the analytics like you're talking about from inside Grazing because it's just a hit send and it's gone. So I need to look into that.
Race cart?
Raise.
Or race cart?
It's
I got it now.
the Seven Sons sales platform.
So I have a question. You've been talking about things that are working well. I would actually love to hear, you're all pretty established. I mean, I know that you're always growing, you're always changing, evolving, but what are some of the stumbles that you've had along the way? What are some of the crashes and burns? Because you're making it sound really easy, which is awesome. And that's why we asked you to come, because you've had experience. But
Well, I would not underestimate refrigeration with a retail business. Refrigeration sucks. And we have walk-in freezers, walk-in coolers, retail cases, and they all have compressors and they all break. So don't underestimate the cost of refrigeration if you're gonna have your products displayed. I think direct marketing, other issues we've had is packaging. We process all of our chickens. So we're about half an hour from here on the seacoast, but we kill all of our chickens in Jersey, about 5.5 hours from the farm, because the quality of the packaging in Jersey is so much better for retailing and putting on a shelf for display. So, you know, we lost like thousands of dollars a year product to damaged vacuum seals, because this might be obvious, when you're doing retail, people open your case, they pull it out, they don't like it, they put it back, and they pull it out, they put it back, and they bust that vacuum seal, and then you basically throw that meat away, because like no one's gonna eat it. And so the packaging quality was a huge thing for us to overcome. And then another huge issue for us to overcome was regulations. I would not underestimate what it means for you to start bringing customers to your property. That's very different than you working your property and shipping your product out. Once you start bringing vehicles onto your property to park, people wander around, they touch your fences, they try to go in a barn, they got to go to the bathroom. Like all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, I did not understand what it meant to have 30 people running around right now. And we've had tremendous issues with our town on managing the people. So don't underestimate that part.
Just because we've had like a little bit of preliminary success with Google Maps and
Showing up online and having a farm stand that's gotten popular in town. We've already, and we're in Ski Town, we've already had like tour buses show up and people just start wandering around and taking pictures, and it's like totally unannounced, just 30 people unload off of us. Yeah, start going to check out the animals, you know? Yeah.
And you don't have signage saying trespassing?
My take is signage is suggestible.
Yeah. Well, I hear that. I have really clear boundaries because they want to come all the time. So I charge them $100 for my hour, and I take them out for tours on my buggy, and they get me for an hour. And they do my tours with me. I get $100. You know, I can't stand having people around.
I would say for me, definitely when I first started is the underestimated time that it takes to do the marketing and to do a good job at it. And also inventory management, because we do sell like quarters, halves, and full beef, and that's pretty easy. Like they get a quarter and they take it home, but we do also sell by the cut in our farm store. So kind of being creative and trying to sell like the beef shanks or like the roasts in the summertime depending on the seasonality of it. So that's why we made pre-made boxes that we can that we sell that kind of has like a mix and try to make it cool certain times of the year for people to buy. But yeah, inventory management as well is when you sell direct to the consumer is something to think about as well.
One that stands out for me is when we first started shipping. So we ship kind of regionally within, next day or 2-day UPS. Not a big part of our sales, but we had some serious fails on product getting to the customer in a very lukewarm state. So not the state, but no, it's not. There was pretty rank boxes that ended up like I've now since learned like ship no later than Tuesday, even on a next day, because things happen. Like we can ship a little further in the wintertime because the trucks are cold. It's not 9 billion degrees in the back of the UPS truck. Played a lot with packaging, what's needed in there. I'm still tweaking. I haven't figured out the perfect combo. We're not big enough to have dry ice or have like a chest of dry ice available. So we're using, these are ice packs. There's been a lot of disasters there. The home delivery, every mechanical issue known to mankind on that truck. U-joints, ball joints, like it's 35 below, the damn diesel won't start, like the def heater goes out. I didn't even know I had one like that. It's like won't run. So there's just been these all these compounding problems that you don't know until the day of delivery, and then you're scrambling and you're doing it in the back of a pickup, which is a bad look. But you got to get your deliveries out. Like the people are waiting. Not so much the home customers, but like the businesses that know you come Thursday and they've set their restock on that. So that's one of the logistics is a real challenge.
Ben, I hope you charge extra for comedic relief. In the same vein of this conversation of challenges, instead of being like retrospective, so looking forward, like what challenges do y'all anticipate coming into your business being direct to consumer and public facing in the next, let's say 5 years? So from a business model perspective, and what are you doing to mitigate that?
I'm worried about running out of product. And I mean that both for our farm and the surrounding farms. There's, our farm store, I think I said, has about an average of 50 customers a day year round. If we were to double that, like we would have vendors we work with now that just would not be able to keep up. And I don't know where we would go. I don't know where else we would go. So my wife and I have been talking a lot about how do we increase our sales in our store without necessarily having to increase the amount of product we're producing. Or, and I don't have an answer to that yet. Like, how do we, we don't want to just start selling soap. Like, we're trying to sell food. Our store is 95% food. It has a small little candle soap section or whatever. But, so I think that for us is one of the things I'm most concerned, like, where are we going to source product if we continue to grow? And then the other thing I would say is there's just really not much infrastructure for agriculture in New Hampshire, in New England. So, processing chickens in Jersey isn't great, but that's where we're going. So I always worry about the process side of things too.
Unfortunately, I see a lot more competition coming, which is a good thing because there's a giant amount of customers out there. It's just I think the biggest challenge, other than the ones that were listed, are that we don't cut each other's throat. Like there's plenty. But I think the big challenge is oversaturation in the same area. You got to reach further than you think. Like we're even closer to Boston now. That's like unending customers, and we're on 2 hours north, and that's my focus. I don't want to sell in my little region any more than I already am because I don't want to cut anybody else's throat. Let's go where we're not beating each other for the same customer. Let's go where there's unending customers.
So like how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, differentiation, and also just thinking outside your close bubble.
Yeah, I would say same thing. Where are we going to be sourcing our cattle? Where are we going to be sourcing our meat? Because I don't want to become like a distribution center kind of thing. I still want to be like true to have animals on the land and grazing and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, how do we increase our sales? As myself being another generation on the farm, we still need to be increasing our sales every year. But we do have a certain amount of acreage that we're working with. So when we max that out, where are we gonna get the meat from? By still, being true to who we are and what we raise.
So I'm curious about labor. Direct marketing so often seems like such a great. You want this extra? Okay, then I won't give it to you. So often direct marketing is kind of looked at as a thing that is going to save you when wholesale isn't, and there's a pretty significant can be labor side to that. And so I would love if y'all talk about labor and how you decide when to bring in somebody, like where's the price point of that? Where's the time saving of that? Where's your decision making around when to bring in more labor, and how is that working for you?
For us, I do most of the marketing, social media, newsletter, and all that kind of stuff. The labor that we bring in is, and I also do the work with the animals, the day-to-day cattle moves, sheep moves, and stuff like that. So the work that I like to do is both of that, but the labor that we bring in would be to help with the jobs, the farm jobs, such as like with the cows and the daily moves. I also took ranching for profit, and it's good to spend your time doing the $200 an hour jobs rather than the $20 an hour jobs. So the less that we can do of the $20 an hour jobs, the more profitable we will be.
But you all know we love doing the $20 an hour work.
Yeah.
I kind of look at labor when I'm really falling short on something, or something's falling through the cracks. That's it. I should be seeing it earlier, but that's about when I see it, and then I go, I need some help. And so, like I said, there's a few, 3 or 4 part-timers that work beside myself. I'm obviously full-time. I would like to be able to bring on somebody else full-time, or convert one of those 2 part-times to 1 full-time, and kind of broaden their spectrum a little bit. But what we've got going right now works. So until somebody decides they don't want to do it anymore, I'm going to leave it as is, and I just bring on more reinforcements as needed.
When my wife joined the farm full-time, we were able to lay off like 5 people. So we have 2 part-timers in the store, and then Austin is part-time with me out in the field, and that's all we have for employees. We used to do farmers markets and all that. Farmers markets are a labor sink. So like we don't do that anymore, and I'm so thrilled about that. I'm sorry, your question was like about making labor decisions too? Like,
Yeah, I'm curious about your decision points. What tips you over to getting in more labor?
we used to have up to 20 employees, and now we're down to these 4 part-timers. And honestly, for me, the HR side, like I just don't want more employees. I'm done with that side of things. So for me, I'm just trying to do more with less. That's less employees is better, I think.
You can ask us as many questions as you want, John. I just want you recorded.
Curious sort of about how you plan your production, and like as you guys have grown your operations, was there a point where you felt like you had done the market research and you knew that, okay, I'm selling everything I'm producing, kind of made a jump, or did you make, more slow and steady growth? And now, like, are you at the point where you're producing to the carrying capacity of your land, just figuring out how to sell that, and then maybe you have enough to make money more? It sounds like that's your case then. I think that's another question. Like, how do you decide kind of when it's time to just max out? What can we do, the system?
Yeah, so we've been kind of in a growth phase since I left my teaching job in 2019 to do this full time. And I'm ready to not grow, like I'm ready to just refine. The markets just seem to never stop. So I haven't bumped up against the ceiling of my market yet. I've bumped up against what I want to handle. as far as volume.
I guess another like part of the question is, when you started, if you're diversifying into, having wholesale accounts and having retail things, is it, oh man, I've got a bunch of stuff I can't sell retail, I need to find a way to wholesale it, and then that establishes that relationship? Or was it more intentional than that?
I wish it was more intentional, but it wasn't. It started off as that, and then the consistency factor comes into play. Like the butcher shop wants 2 pigs a week, every week. Like they want a very similar carcass every week. Stores want the same cuts every week. So then you have to fall into this need of consistency, which then forces you to scale to match that consistency. Yeah, so it started like, how do I get rid of the whatever shanks that nobody really likes? So I stop cutting shanks and put it in ground beef, which flies. Like, so, okay, I'm not selling the bone. Well, I'm still selling the bone. It's a bone, but not as a shank, like a shank steak. So you gotta be a little creative on that kind of stuff.
And you don't sell any lamb.
Not enough. I think the most we've ever killed
I
is
can't keep my shank.
16. Oh no, lamb shanks fly. I'm talking
Oh,
about beef shanks. Like, yeah, lamb I've got no problem selling. I don't make enough.
Yeah. For us, we have to book our butcher and slaughter dates and everything. Like we had to book them for 2026 in last August. So, which is really hard where you're in the middle of the crazy season, the grass season, and we have to sit down and think what we're gonna do next year.
Because you're buying in stockers, right?
Yeah. So we're like, okay, like how much are we gonna do next year? Like how much are we gonna grow? Like we're also growing our business every year. So it's really hard to say. So we try and sit down in August and kind of plan out the following year what we're gonna be selling and how we're gonna find those cattle and to fulfill those butcher dates.
We use our point of sale to figure out how much we're gonna grow. So like we've been tracking our sales with Square since we started. That's the platform we use. So like what we've been doing is every year as we grow, like I'll make my slaughter days closer together. So it used to be like, every 90 days we'd slaughter pigs, and now it's every 45 days. And so, and what we've done to help fill that gap in production is we have a livestock dealer we work with, and I'll just say like, hey, I have this many pigs on the ground. I'm going to need this many pigs for these dates. Tell me which farms you have that can supply them, and I'll go out and buy them from those farms. So that's how we like filled that gap as we continue to scale up and grow. And as far as your wholesale thing was, like at least for us, we used to like package for wholesale. We stopped doing all of that. So now we retail package everything. And if a wholesale customer wants to buy retail packaged, like for example, instead of a box of 10 broilers in a bulk bag, each individual, they can do that. They can buy that from us. If they don't buy from us, I can retail it on the shelf. Because when we were doing separate packaging, it saved the wholesale customer money. But then if I had 50 bulk broilers and no more retail, it doesn't matter. I still have to wait for that restaurant to come. So for us, that was wholesale is like a secondary thing for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing that we package special for wholesale is ground beef cases, 5-pound bags in a case. But I have restaurants and stores or lunch counter type places that use it, and I know what they need each week or approximately. So I'm never sitting on thousands of pounds of it. And if I run out, they'll use retail packs. The wholesale price is the same on either, so it doesn't really matter. It's just the annoyance factor in the kitchen if you gotta open a million little packages.
Yeah, for us, the one wholesaler that we sell to, they take the same packaging that we have at our farm store, so we don't have any different packaging. And they take any extra that we have, so we don't send them. They order thousands of pounds of meat, but we only send them whatever we have. And luckily, they take kind of the offcuts too, so like the roasts and cubes and stuff, and of course ground beef. But yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if any of you guys started with a CSA model approach and then have since switched to sort of like the different options that you have now, like, or was this kind of like what you started with and have continued with? Like, did you ever have a CSA where it was a pre-reservation for X number of pounds of meat or X number of animals for the year? And did that work well for you at all? Spoiler alert, I'm asking because that's what I'm trying to do.
We've never used the CSA model. We do have like pre-curated beef boxes if we want to, like, they got some silly names. But nothing like on the CSA model. It's just been a la carte.
We've used a CSA for forever. Ours is a little unique. We just do, I guess you call it a debit style CSA. So what's cool about our CSA is you can use it in our farm store for all the products in the store. So we do like a match. So if you invest $700 up front, I'm gonna get these percentages wrong, but if you invest $700, we'll match you like 9%. So you get a gift card worth whatever that math is. And then you can spend that gift card down in the farm store and any of the products in the store. It doesn't have to be grown by us. And what we have found, maybe to the chagrin of other farmers, is that, you know, our CSA is basically as comprehensive as you could possibly get a CSA to be. I mean, and it's choice. So if the customer doesn't like chicken, they don't have to buy any chicken with their CSA. We also do meat boxes and all those prescribed things. One thing I will say about CSAs that I think is very interesting, at least in our farm, so we do this match program, like 9% or whatever. If you do, let's say someone comes in with their credit card and they want to buy a CSA, and they buy a $700 CSA with their credit card, you pay the credit card company 3%, and then you give them 7%. That started to add up for us. Like, holy shit, we're giving away like tens of thousands of dollars in these percentages. So what we did is we raised the prices of our product to cover somebody who bought our most expensive CSA, got the largest match percentage, and we added that onto our markup. The downside is now is like every single product in our store became 15% more expensive overnight. The person who buys the most expensive CSA is the wealthiest customer you have. So in a sense, our wealthiest customers are buying the best CSAs. For us to adapt to that, we've raised the prices of everything by 15%. So just like a side note story, the CSAs can have these, we did not foresee that coming when we started this process. But that's been a very interesting thing to realize, is that everything's more expensive because of the CSA.
For us, we don't use the CSA model. We do have like the pre-made boxes, kind of like barbecue box, smoker's box, a family box, kind of to stock up a freezer above the fridge. And then we do have the deposits for quarters, halves, and full beef that people can pay throughout. They do a $200 deposit any time of the year, and then it reserves their beef for the fall time.
So we're talking a lot about like different like models of purchasing, you know, sections of like these boxes, smoker bundle, weekly bundle, CSA, all these things, right? And it seems like when I'm hearing you guys say that, like that could add a lot of time and distraction to you as like a farmer. Have there been any of those that have been not worth your while, or has it always been like it's always added value to your business in terms of adding different ways to buy your product?
I'd say for us, the boxes are a really big hit at our farm store, because when you like the barbecue box, for example, it has like 4 steaks, hot dogs, sausages, and burgers. And if people are looking at a couple steaks or buying 4 steaks, usually we suggest, look at the barbecue box, it's $125 versus like $80 for the steak. So people are more enticed to possibly buy the bundle rather than just the individual pieces. So that's why we kind of have boxes that are tailored to like a lot of different cooking styles, so that it kind of tailors to everybody.
We use them as like an introductory drug, like so they can get a broad taste, and then they go and order a la carte. Like, I really like the ribeye, everybody likes ribeye, but then I like this sausage and that, and it just kind of opens that floodgate up.
So I think we designed our CSA so that we wouldn't have to pack boxes. Like, that was part of the reason we did the store, like you just shop in your cart and use your gift card. Because the last thing we wanted to do was pack more boxes than we're already packing. The other thing is I'll say is we, like on our online store, we offer like bulk pack of boneless breasts and stuff like that. We don't market any of that in our farm. We only market it on the online store.
just chicken?
It changes. It's whatever we have too much of in the freezer. So there's always too much, not too much. There's always a lot of chicken. So we have chicken basically all the time available. But then, like, you know, when we process 4 beef cows, we'll put ground beef up there for a while. I should say we now pre-sell everything for that. So right now, this is new for us. Like, we're selling ground beef that we haven't processed yet. And for cash flow, that is huge. So that has been unforeseen. Like, as we start selling out of product, instead of just not selling anything, we just start selling product we haven't processed yet. And you got to make sure you follow through, obviously. But as long as you do, it's pretty nice to have that cash before you have to pay that slaughter bill. So, and then for the meat boxes, like we do meat boxes too. We started very small, only like 20 shares, monthly shares, and we've slowly grown that. But we don't push that hard. That's sort of, I think we have like 35 customers that get a meat box. It's nothing huge.
So I think how I want to ask this. So if you guys how do you deal with like awful or like less desirable cuts? Like, do you ever get a surplus of them, and like have you figured out a way to sell those or get rid of those somehow? Specifically in our case, we had a lot of pork back fat that I just couldn't offload.
We have a really robust pet food business now. We sell like all of our chicken necks. We just get them grind up into 2-pound packs and just sell ground necks all day for dog food. So a lot of dog food. And then I think in one of the talks, like we do all the tallow stuff too, you know, like all the lotions and all that stuff too. But, you know, someone else does it for us. We don't do it ourselves. So we actually now have no offal. It all goes. Yeah.
We've been doing pet treats with our liver since 2010 probably. Some Cabela's dehydrators, nothing special, making dog treats. We are going to start blending our heart and our ground beef to make a primal blend, because that's really the only offal that's building up. We've got outlets for tongue and cheeks that can't get enough. So on the beef side.
What about the intestines and the lungs? That part of it?
We don't typically get any of that back. It goes to render.
Oh, okay, that's what I call it.
Yeah, for us, most of the organ meats, people love and can't get enough of it. I don't know why, but any extra like fat and everything, we have a transformation kitchen at our store as well that we make tallow. Yeah.
I'll just add to that I ended up with a ton of pork fat, and which does not make a great lip balm, but it does make a really great soap. So now I'm working with somebody who's actually making soap that I'm using out in our farm stay business as in our welcome baskets. So we have about 5 minutes left. Yeah, so we have time for a couple more burning questions, and then I'd love to have like a closing comment from y'all. Okay?
Yeah, I do have a burning question. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but have you seen the changing trend in who your customer is? I mean, like 40 years ago, we had a lot of people that would buy whole and half lambs, but they're dead now. And they don't have very big family, you know, their households aren't very big anymore. So they're just purchasing their, you know, totally differently. So you do whole and half.
Yeah.
You guys have moved to, I love the box idea.
We still do small and half, just not much.
Okay, that's my point. Do you see other trends emerging?
For us, it's probably the opposite. I'd say probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we were really, really trying to sell the quarters and halves. It felt like we were really trying super hard, and like the sales were there, but it was more like people were buying individually. And this past year, none of our marketing really had an option. We never really spoke about the quarters and halves, and we sold so many more than we could even furnish. So I don't know what that means, but I think people are more like stocking up their freezers, and yeah.
I would say if you're gonna like design a meat box, do not go over 10 pounds per month. And I will say we've had more people quit our meat box because they get inundated with meat versus not enough. That's 10 pounds a month, like 4 people, which in my household would not last a month. But some people don't eat as much meat as we
saw another. I'm just curious if you could like redo your infrastructure wins of your farm store. Yeah, if you have anything to speak on that.
I would keep your farm store really small. I think it's like ours is 600 square feet, and it's packed. And if it was twice as big, it would look empty. And there's a farm store, I'll let them stay anonymous, that got put up near us that is huge, and it's like going into an empty warehouse. Keep it small, keep it packed, keep it look full. And so that's not a renovation, but I would say, like, as far as our infrastructure goes, as we get busier, my wife and I, we never talk about growing the size of our store. It's like, let's keep this thing small. Let's keep it look packed all the time. I'd rather have more back inventory that I just keep restocking shelves than have some shelves that stay blank sometimes. So.
Our store is relatively small. It's 12 by 20. And if I had to do it over again, I'd just do it sooner. I don't know why it took me so long, but it was always like this thing, oh, we'll get to it, and then just pull the trigger, we get it. So sooner the better.
Yeah, our farm store is pretty small as well. It's, I don't know, how big is it, like
12 by 12.
Yeah, it's quite small. I'd say we probably need a little bit bigger. But it is nice to have a small store because it does look full. You don't want to go too big and have like empty shelves and people are like, oh, like they don't have a lot of selection when really you do, because things might just be looking empty. But yeah, smaller is good.
So what have we not talked about? What has been coming up in this conversation for each of you that you want to make sure that gets covered?
So I wrote down a couple things, and these are sort of like what we use as guiding principles to start our direct marketing business. So, and I stole all these from just like literally paying attention to like, why does Walmart seem to still be open? And so consistency, convenience, education, and quality. And I don't necessarily think quality really even has to be there. But our products, like, we hang our hat on chicken. We always have chicken. Like, we will never sell out of chicken. We may not have boneless thighs today, but like, you can always get chicken. So like, I think that's how we build our repeat customers, is we were consistent with a product. It was always there on the shelf. We're convenient. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 9 to 6 year round. You don't have to ask us if we're open. You don't have to show up and be like, shit, they're not here. Like, it is open. The lights are on. The music's going. There's someone behind the counter. And I think that has been huge for us. Education, I don't know how you guys feel, but our product does not look like the product you buy at the supermarket. And you'd be amazed, like, how many people just come in and glaze over our cases full of like premium meats, and then they go like, do you have ground beef? It's like, oh my God. It's like, there's tons of it right here. And when but literally people don't know how to look at vertical cases. Like, it's stupid, but like, people shop with their eyes, and your farm store is not going to look like a Whole Foods or a Walmart. So like, there's so much education required to get people to understand how to cook your product. Our product's all frozen. Most people think it's going to take like 3 months to thaw that product out, but you can thaw it out in like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So like, educating people, like, you can roll in at 4 and eat at 6 with the food that's frozen in the freezer. Like, it's like so much education there. So those would be like my big, like, if you're going to start direct marketing, I would focus on those things: quality, convenience, consistency, and education. So
I'll second all the things that you just said. When we were doing farmers markets, we were educators first, salespeople second. You educate them, then they try it, then you have a customer, and you've explained why your product's the way it is. Not running anybody else down on their product, but just telling them why your product is this. And then once they understand, you've got that customer, you're locked in, they're coming back to you because you took the time to explain to them how to thaw it, how to cook it. And you can really steer people on toward whatever you have in overstock. It's just kind of, they need a lot of hand holding, and it takes time, but then once they're trained, you've got a trained customer.
Yeah, I think education is key for sure, because our products are different than what you would get in the grocery store. And people are like, why is your ground beef not bright red?
you know, why is it this brown color? And also to, have a relationship with your customers, whether there's a lot of grass-fed beef producers around you or vegetable producers around you, people and customers want to come to you for a certain reason, so you have to portray why are customers coming to you, and you have to have a really good relationship with your customers is key, I think.